Some of the most Googled questions about skincare either have answers that are outdated or just straight up wrong. So today I'm pulling the most searched skincare questions from Google and I'm going to be answering them from a clinical esthetician viewpoint. So the first most Googled question was, how do you shrink and handle large pores? In my opinion, this is one of the most misunderstood questions because lots of times you'll hear on TikTok like, use this product to shrink your pores, use this product to make your pores close, use cold water to tighten your pores, and none of this is true. Firstly, I want to preface that pores cannot open and close. They don't have a muscle, so they can't physically close and open with cold water products, anything like that, but you can minimize appearance of them. What people are seeing when they say they have large pores is just the pores being clogged with excess oils, dead skin, dirt and debris, or there's a loss of collagen inside of the follicle. Collagen is a protein in your skin that's located in your dermis and it builds up about 70% of your dermis. So essentially there's collagen around your hair follicle and this is what gives it its like strength or it gives it its closure. So when people say they're starting to appear bigger, it could be a lax in collagen. So the question, how do I handle or deal with my pores being large, is something that you can't actually shrink, but there is certain products that you can use to minimize appearance. When oil in your skin is balanced, buildup is controlled, and collagen in the dermis is supported, this is going to give that more refined, smaller look, even though your pores are actually not changing size at all. So basically, any service provider, any product, any TikToks that are claiming that they're going to shrink your pores, this is just all a big marketing thing because people market off of pores because this is a very large thing that people complain about frequently. It's all just marketing. But if you want to minimize the appearance of your pores, there is certain things that you can do and products that you can use to help support this. So things like chemical peels, anything that's exfoliating that's going to clear out the dirt and debris in your follicle, and anything that's collagen supporting. So stuff like microneedling could be good to bring collagen back into the skin, or things like salicylic acids, niacinamides, azelaic acid, things like that are supporting your skin health. Pore appearance is all about skin structure and health, not because your pores are getting bigger, but because there might be a deeper problem such as collagen loss or buildup inside the follicle, which is why exfoliating and microneedling are great options for this. Okay, the second most Googled question on skincare is, how do you keep your skin smooth? A lot of people think that smooth skin comes from scrubs, harsh exfoliants, harsh products, really in-depth services, and this is actually just not true. If you do all of these things, it can actually make your skin more rough over time rather than smooth. Clinically, smooth skin comes from three main things. The three things that support smooth skin are going to be consistent cell turnover, proper hydration, and a healthy skin barrier. When the dead skin cells on top of your skin are not shedding properly, they create buildup, and that's what causes a textural look. This is where controlled exfoliation and ingredients that promote cell turnover come in. However, it is very important to note that if your barrier is compromised or your skin is dehydrated, this is where texture will become more apparent even if you're doing exfoliation. So overall, smooth skin does not come from scrubbing harder or using harsher products, but it comes from consistent cell turnover, barrier protection, and hydration. All of these things combined will give you that glow, even smooth texture. But depending on how your skin is, if you have a compromised barrier or super dry skin, things like exfoliants, chemical peels, all of these things can worsen texture. So make sure you do your research and understand what's good for you in this exact moment of time for your skin so that you don't overdo it or you don't do the right things at all. The third frequently most asked question on Google was, how often should you perform a face mask? A lot of people think that face masks should be used either daily, nightly, like multiple days in a row, but this all depends on what the mask has in it and what skin concern you're focusing on with the mask. Masks that are hydrating and barrier supporting can be used 1 to 3 times a week because it helps restore water and hydration into the skin and also calms the skin. So this is a gentle mask that can be used about 1 to 3 times a week. Any mask that claims it's clarifying or exfoliating should be used only once a week max, sometimes even less depending on the skin, because this takes off some of the dead layers of skin, so your skin's very vulnerable. So using this every day of the week or multiple times a week can cause sensitized skin. Overusing masks can cause things like compromised barriers, disrupting the skin, and all these things are negative on your skin. You don't want to dry out your skin and you really don't want to sensitize your skin or compromise your barrier, so it's very important to know what type of mask you're using and how frequently it can be used for your skin type. One of the next most frequently asked questions on Google is, do I really need a toner? Using toners at home used to be very necessary because cleansers used to be much more harsh and alkaline, so toners were going to help balance out your pH. However, cleansers now are a bit more different and there's a lot of options that are gentle, less alkaline, so toners are not necessary. However, I still use a toner and it's very nice to balance out your pH after a cleanse. So clinically, toner is not a required step, it is optional. However, I use a toner on all of my clients and myself, and I still think it's a very important step to balance out that pH before you go on to the next product. There is also multiple different toners that are designed to do different things and are formulated for different skin concerns. There's hydrating toners that can add water and moisture back into the skin. There's calming toners that can support barrier function. And there's clearing exfoliating toners that can help with buildup and texture on the skin. What really matters when it comes to using toner is the function, not the toner itself. So if it's just alcohol with fragrance, this is going to do nothing for you. However, if it has proper ingredients and things that are working with your skin and not against it, then it's a great step. It's definitely not mandatory, but it's a great additional step to help support your barrier, support hydration, help clearing, all of the things I just mentioned. Skincare steps and products are meant to feel intentional and not just part of a routine. So if it doesn't feel intentional and you feel like it's not benefiting you, you do not have to use this. However, if your cleanser is harsh or you're feeling like your skin's a little bit disrupted, you might want to try a pH balancing toner. The next frequently Googled question is, what number of SPF is best for me? A lot of people assume that the higher the SPF number, the better protection, but from a clinical viewpoint, that's not the full picture. For daily facial use, an SPF 30 or higher is going to be recommended for most people. This is because an SPF 30 blocks about 97% of UVB rays. Going any higher than an SPF 30 only slightly increases protection, and it's not drastically. What actually matters more than the number on the bottle is picking a broad spectrum SPF. The other things that matter is if you're applying enough SPF and also if you're frequently reapplying. If you're not using enough product and you're not reapplying properly, then it doesn't matter the number on the SPF. It's not going to work near as effectively as if you use enough product and also reapply at the right time. So the best SPF that I'd recommend to anyone is at least a 30. Make sure it's broad spectrum and also make sure you're applying enough and reapplying when you need to. The next question is, what are the best ways to deal with rosacea? Some of the weirdest misconceptions I've seen is that you can exfoliate rosacea away or do treatments that are aggressive and it will make it better. Clinically, rosacea is a chronic inflammatory condition. So management is focused on calming inflammation, protecting your skin barrier, or avoiding any known triggers that are going to cause flare-ups. So stripping the skin and exfoliating is definitely not the way to go with rosacea. People with rosacea are going to want to use very gentle cleansers, barrier repairing moisturizers, and daily broad spectrum SPF. Using daily broad spectrum SPF for rosacea clients is very important because UV can be an extreme trigger. It's also very important to limit things for rosacea clients, such as overexfoliation, hot water, strong actives, and scented products. All of these things can increase redness and sensitivity, and it's also important to notice flare-ups. If you think you might have rosacea, pay attention to your face when you eat spicy food, when you drink, if you're using things like fragrance, or if you're using things that are a bit harsh, exfoliants. Really watch, and you can definitely determine if you have rosacea or not, and if you want to go get checked, you can go to a clinical esthetician, and they can help you figure it out. But once again, if you're dealing rosacea, it's way better to do less than more. The most important things are going to be staying consistent and using things that are barrier supporting, hydrating, and very gentle. Next question is, what causes melasma or dark spots, and what can you do to combat it? Melasma and certain dark spots are caused by overproduction of melanin or pigment. This is usually triggered by a combination of UV, heat, hormones, and inflammation. Unlike regular sunspots, melasma is driven deeper in the skin and it is very reactive. This means things like sun exposure, heat, and irritation can darken the melasma. Clinically treating melasma isn't just about lightening pigment, but it's also about controlling triggers. With things like pigment, prevention is just as important as correction. And that is all for the most frequently asked questions about skincare and skin on Google. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment down below and make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!